Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Mech Merlin build stream. I see a couple new people here today, being Barnyard and Inverse22. Thanks, guys, for joining in. I also see an Arceril and KSJ. Thanks, guys, for joining in so early. So yeah, today we are rebuilding one of my favorite boards. It is the Iron 165. Today's switch that I'll be putting in the iron is the new Divinikey ONI linear switches. DK stands for Divinikey. What's interesting about these is that it features their proprietary HPE for the top housing and the bottom housing, and it has a stem that's palm. HPE, from what I know, is very similar to nylon. So really curious, super curious to see if these are going to be any deeper than, you know, Gateron Oil Kings, which are my current favorite drink. Yeah, these are 65G bottom out. Fairly deep sounding. Let's see, how does that compare with the Gateron Oil King? Or Gateron Oil King. It's awfully similar. I feel like on some actuations it sounds deeper, and then some it doesn't. What I'm also noticing on this is that it's got a bit of, holy crap, my bit rate is going all crazy again. Oh well, it is recorded. By the time it gets to YouTube, it'll be much nicer. So yeah, this one seems to be, I can hear some spring ping, unfortunately, so I highly recommend lubing the spring at the very least. But yeah, seems like a switch that I'm going to like. So another thing that I'm trying new with this build is the Iron 165 comes with its own PCB, but I have recently discovered that you can also use the Bakeneko 65 PCB on it. But Merlin, why? The Iron 165 has the same ARM chip. That's true, but the reason why I want to go with the Bakeneko 65 as opposed to the original Iron PCB, which is, the difference being is that this is hot swap and it's got in-switch lighting. Original Iron 165 PCB, nothing wrong with it, just wanted to try something new. Let's see, another thing that I'm doing different this time is I am not using Durock V2 stabs. This is the second time I'm trying out the new TX stabs. If you guys remember the first build that I tried with TX stabs, I wasn't too impressed. But you know, sample size of one, right? I can't make a judgment just on one attempt. So this will be the second time. Yeah, I'm still not completely sold on the fact that they're just, you know, that they're just clip-ins. That actually bothers me. Like, the whole reason why I use Durock V2s is because I did not like clip-ins. Like, I know you can put the little, what do you call it? The stab poppage preventer thing, but I'm like, I don't think that's really like a solution. I would rather have a proper screw. Let me show you my iron. Is that the iron with the SS weight? No, it's not. That's the FE. Founders Edition. Yeah, this is my iron. So you can see my weight is starting to oxidize, which is something I don't really want. So if I ever get a chance to talk with Knee Deep, I'm gonna have him, let's see, I guess the process is called oxidize, patina. There we go. One screw out. Do these switches have a long pole? They have total travel 3.5, pre-travel 1.8. I'm not seeing any mention on the product page of having a long pole. All right, here we go. Okay, we have extracted the plate. If you guys remember, the plate on the chapter 1 didn't really have any flex cuts. This has flex cuts all around, right? So when I built the chapter 1, I was like, it's definitely going to be stiff, but I was expecting stiff like the Iron 165. Like, by comparison, Iron 165 brass plate is not stiff. Yeah, let's just put this away for now, and we can start the build. So if you guys caught the original build that I did with the Iron 165, I built these with the NK silk switches, which were really high-pitched. They're really high-pitched. Didn't like them at the time, and right before I took it all apart again, I tried it one more time, and I was like, yeah, still don't like this feeling. See, Valve says, how is the chapter 1 worth buying? My particular configuration, the way I built it, I would not buy. But if I had chosen an aluminum plate, maybe a softer plate, I think I would have absolutely loved it. Just, you know, watching the other streamers build it and stuff, they seem to have, the parts sent to them were more up my alley. So I would encourage you to look at what I said about it during my build stream, and look at Alex Soto's and a few other streamers, and arrive at a determination after looking up all those. TLDR, don't buy this with the brass plate if you don't like stiff feeling boards. If you don't like stiff feeling or high pitched boards, because you will not like it. Like, I've been typing on this for a few days now, and you know, while I feel like I got used to the sound, like, the stiffness of it still bothered me. Alex Soto's did the PC plate with polyfill. I'm sure that sounded so much better than mine. I would have loved that one. He's still not my preference, though. Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the things he could have done to improve the board is probably put flex cuts on the plate, possibly even on the PCB. Like, someone on my YouTube channel actually, but his comment was, this feels like a very old design board, like a board that would have been a total hit around like 2017. And I would agree with them on that. Yeah, just on the few switches I'm typing on right now, this is definitely much better sounding than my previous build. So LW67 over the chapter 1. Right now, yes. I greatly prefer my LW67. Though I wish my LW67 had this color. Yeah, my LW67 is built with an aluminum plate. So it's definitely not as stiff feeling and not as high pitched. There we go. We're done, and look, it even matches the brass plate. Look at that. Look at those stems. All right, let's go test it out. Let's go test this out. Here we go. Instant 65. That is the Bakeneko 65 PCB. That's the name that shows up in VIA. Instant 65. Let's do key tester, test matrix. There we go. Perfect. Everything works. Like the subtlety of that video. Oh, look at that. I did such a bad job with the foam cutting. I should redo that. The port is on the other side, whereas the original PCB has it on the right. So, good thing there's enough room in here. If that's not too big of a problem. You know, I just realized that's not even the newest daughter board. Let me upgrade it. Actually, you know what? I have some random foam that could probably work here. Is that a 65%? Yep, that is a 65% foam. What needs to be in a daughter board? What makes it newer? So IO3 has decided to put lots of the PCB protection circuits on the daughter board itself, just because this is where the USB-C port goes in, right? So if anything goes wrong, it should go wrong at the daughter board level. These are $7 as opposed to, you know, what, 60 bucks for a PCB and time and labor for desoldering and all that, right? So a good daughter board, well, to IO3's philosophy, a good daughter board should have ESD protection, over current protection, and over voltage protection. It's not just a daughter board for the USB-C port. Let's see, I've actually watched other key modding videos that felt the same as that, as watching that one. No, it's actually my subtle critique on the keyboard aftermarket, or on the keyboard hobby as a whole, that people sometimes get too caught up in the dollar value of their board and try to flip their boards and stuff. And I'm just like, well, what about this? This one actually has money in it. You do love mods, especially ones with household items. Yeah, I think my April Fool's video from like 2 years back, I tried conventional household items for lube. Even though it should be pretty obvious that it's a April Fool's video, for those of you who know me, you should know that it's an April Fool's video. Why would you even recommend this? And I'm like, it's an April Fool's video. But something I did learn from that video, which I never thought was actually viable, like compared with 205G0, butter is really smooth, but only for about like 20 minutes before it solidifies, right? See, I know we're not really gonna have much room for the cable because there's no canal here, but it should be fine. Yeah, can you guys see that tarnished weight? It's really weird. I'm one of the few where this actually happened. Like, I don't think Seattle is prone to oxidization if you just leave brass out, because like, check this out, guys. I've got here. This is the brass weight for my Octagon V2. Non-coated at all. You can see that it's tarnished a bit, but it's not to the same level as this. So I'm like, what the heck happened? So I was actually really upset when R2 came about. I was hoping I could buy just a weight for R2, but for R2 they changed the entire shape of it, or I guess it's still the same shape, but it's not a solid block anymore. It's just a plate. I know it's not that bad, but I don't like it. So, you know, maybe in the future I'll find some nice fellow Iron 165R1 person who actually likes the look. All right, so the keycap set that I was gonna put on this is something I just recently got. Had to buy this aftermarket because it's no longer available, but found a super good deal for 220 bucks. GMK Oblivion version 2.0 Git base kit. And check it out. It's still the original GMK caps, or the GMK trays. Here we go. Let's see. Why the cut isn't symmetric on the plate? Oh, you're talking about how like there are cuts over here and stuff? I've forgotten like the reason why, but if you go to the R1 Geek Hack page, he gives a very detailed explanation. All right, let's see. Quick typing on my part. Okay. Let's pause my music and you guys can tell me what you think on the sounds. I can really hear that spring ping and that spring crunch from the Divinikey ONI switches. That's actually really annoying me because with the brass plate, a lot of that is amplified. So which is why it's very noticeable for me. Don't really like that. I will have to say that it is deeper sounding than NK Silks, so to me that's an improvement. Earlier I said that I was building this because I was curious what a brass plate in a different board would compare to the Chapter 1, and compared with the Chapter 1, I actually like how this feels more. But in terms of sound, honestly, I think they're about the same. I don't like either one. But this one's definitely because of this stupid spring crunch. Yeah, this one is noticeably stiffer. So like how this types. If I had to say which one was better in sound, I'd say the Chapter 1 right now has a better sound than the Iron 165. But I still don't like either sound, which is why you've probably never seen me use the Iron 165 on a consistent basis. I think I just proved to myself that I really don't like brass plates. I was really hoping that this board with newer switches that I'd actually like it more, and my feelings about my Iron 165 are still the same as when I first built it. Good looking board, pretty sexy, like how it's all put together, looks good. Typing feel is also good, but the sound has never impressed me. I will have to say though that having the flex cuts in the brass plate does play a huge difference compared to the Chapter 1. Chapter 1 had no flex cuts at all. So yeah, definitely preferred the flex cuts. But the fact that it's brass is still a lot stiffer than I'm used to. So going forward, I'm probably never going to buy a brass plate again, ever. It's definitely a deeper sounding board than when I first built it, but it's not deep enough. It doesn't sound good enough to make me want to actually use it. Let me do a quick test here. Let me just swap out switches. There, first we're gonna try the PBT, see if it makes any difference. It does make a difference, like the PBT makes it deeper sounding. Okay, so PBT would be an improvement already. let's see if there'll be an improvement if I swap out the ONIs to Gateron Oil Kings. Okay, let's use the original ABS keycap. So to me, it sounds a little higher pitched with the Gateron Oil Kings, but it's only on the downstroke. On the return, it seems a little deeper sounding, whereas the ONIs are opposite. That's deep, but on the return, it's higher pitched. Okay, let's try it out with PBT. In terms of sound using switch choice, I don't think the ONI or the Gateron Oil Kings will make a big difference. It's mainly the plate that's causing all of this high pitchiness. But changing out from ABS to PBT does dampen a lot of that. So I think I could put a PBT set on this, and that would be better. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining in. Just as a quick summary of what I did today, I rebuilt my personal Iron 165 just because my experience with the brass plate on the Chapter 1 made me curious to see whether or not my thoughts on brass plates have shifted or not. So I went back to my Iron 165, rebuilt it with the new Divinikey ONI switches, which have a lot of spring ping and crunch, by the way. And you know, while the Iron 165 is a better typing board than the Chapter 1, I feel like in terms of sounds, it's really no better. So going forward, I'm probably not going to buy another brass plate ever again. That has cemented my opinion that for me, I prefer aluminum plates when it comes to boards like this, just because aluminum gives you like that happy medium between too much bass and too much high pitched. I think aluminum and FR4 are my choices for boards that are isolation gasket mount. So yeah, thanks guys for joining in. You'll probably see more of the Chapter 1 on my future streams. Next stream is going to be tomorrow evening, 7:30 p.m. PDT, in which I talk all about mechanical keyboard group buys that are occurring for the following week. So if that's the kind of info that you guys find interesting, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow evening. So thanks guys for joining in. Have a good rest of your weekend. Goodbye everyone.